Hi everyone, my name is Deja Shelton, and today I will be doing a presentation on drug stimulants in the brain and body. So first I'm going to start off with just providing a brief overview of what I'll be going over today in my presentation. So first I'm going to give you all a brief description of the topic, then describe the history slash background of the topic, then moving on to explaining the relationship of the topic to drugs and society. And lastly, I'm just going to show you all my resources and references used to provide you all with all of this information. First, I'm going to talk about the topic description. So this topic is about how drug stimulants work in relation to the brain and the body, or how they affect the brain and the body. So what drug stimulants are will be reviewed and mentioned, and then a certain type of drug stimulant will be explained and look at more specifically to better understand its effects on the brain. I will also talk about the effects of this drug on the brain and neurons caused by the alteration and increase of neurotransmitters due to the drug stimulant. Then the effects occurring in the body after the alteration of the certain neurotransmitters from the stimulant will be mentioned as well, such as mood alterations or physical alterations of the body as well. So, just providing some history and background, drug stimulants are psychoactive drugs affecting the limbic reward system in the brain, which helps temporarily to increase energy, alertness, and brain activity. Some of these drugs are legal while others are illegal. So, examples of drug stimulants would be caffeine, nicotine, cocaine, methamphetamine, and prescription stimulants. The stimulant being reviewed today is cocaine. A brief description of cocaine. It's also known as coke, normally a white powdery substance that can be snorted, inhaled, smoked, dissolved, or injected. So just a more history and background with stimulants, more specifically cocaine and its effects on the brain and body. The effect stimulants have on the brain is due to changing communication between neurons in neurotransmission that releases neurotransmitters like dopamine. So dopamine alters mood, feelings, and pleasure in the brain. So it's just a feel-good, happy drug. The synapse where the neurotransmitter release to another neuron occurs so that it can release this feeling of euphoria can be affected by the drug in many ways, leading to an increase of the previously mentioned pleasurable effects. So the synapse can be affected in several ways, such as increasing neurotransmitter release to the synaptic space. It can be activated or blocking specific receptors for the neurotransmitters. And then lastly, it can change the removal of neurotransmitters. So the way the synapse is affected by the stimulant specifically being looked at today, cocaine, is by it changes the removal of the neurotransmitter from the synapse. So this drug blocks the dopamine transporter that removes dopamine from the synapse, which leads to an increase in dopamine because it's being blocked. So the rise of dopamine leads to an increase of its effects. So it's increasing the feeling of well-being, euphoria, happiness, alertness, attention, energy, and this can be felt in minutes within snorting. Some people rub, cocaine on their teeth or other methods of taking in this drug. So just some increased background on the drug. I know that I mentioned a lot of pleasurable effects that cocaine can have, but they are very short-lived. There are negative short-term as well as long-term effects that it can cause to the body. So the short-term effects include exhaustion, apathy, depression because of the low feeling you get right after the high, which normally only lasts an hour. And then the long-term effects after constant use of stimulants can lead to addictive effects, which lead to feelings of hostility, paranoia, dangerously high body temperatures, and then irregular heartbeats because your body's just needing more and more of the drug. So the relation to this topic to drugs and society is that it helps people to understand that drug stimulants are commonly known in society, not just as illegal, but as well as legal drugs such as prescription drugs and affect our brain in various ways, which lead to a direct effect on our bodies through our behaviors and actions, showing why it's so popular in today's society. And this is just a brief overview of my references and resources, and I hope you enjoyed this presentation.